Whenever I began to read the Republican Party platform, I didn't find one thing in there that I felt as a black man targeted me. I began to wonder, well, if I can't find anything in their platform, maybe I can find something in the Republican Party's past that gives me an example of how they targeted me as a black man. And I started with Abraham Lincoln, who was a Republican. You know, you can argue, well, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation as a war strategy. And you can argue that. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is that it was a Republican who signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And then if you fast forward to women's suffrage, it was a Republican Chief Justice in William Taft that struck down laws that made it illegal for women to vote. If you look at Jim Crow, it was Republican votes in the Senate and in the House that was able to rid this country of Jim Crow.
When we look at the history of entities like the KKK, it was specifically intended to suppress the African Americans and keep them from voting for Republicans specifically. That was always what the KKK was founded to do.
A lot of black people were voting for Democrats because they were being forced to. If you don't vote for Democrats, the Ku Klux Klan are going to come and lynch your eldest son. And so you fast forward to today, the message is still the same. If you don't vote for Democrats, the Republicans are going to come.
They can turn back voting rights. They can turn back many of the things that people suffered and died for. Did nobody donate to us the right to vote?
It's the same Democratic Party. It's just they learned to play the game better.
We in the same ship. It's the same suit, just warmed over. It ain't nothing changed. The same party is doing the same thing they always been doing. Party of division, the party of power.
If you're a minority, you're smart, you can believe what you want to believe, support what you want to support, you are free to do these things. You don't have to support one person. You don't have to drink at this one water fountain. You're free to make choices. It's like, okay, that's great. I choose to be a Republican, and then, whoa, everybody stop.
He is encouraging a generation of foolish young people. These are lost, disturbed, self-loathing people.
Notice that all of those youngsters had caps on. It was almost like we're going to dress you for the photo.
It's gone from like physical restrictions, but now, you know, in the 21st century, as we're reaching the information age, it's become a sort of metaphysical restriction as to what a minority can and can't do. Minorities shouldn't think this way. Minorities shouldn't support these people. Minorities shouldn't believe these things.
Black conservatives today, or anybody that has a black conservative message, we are the people that are escaping the plantation.
The liberal will try to control a black person through the concept of racism because they know that we are very proud, emotional people.
What was the reaction when black slaves escaped the plantation? It was swift.
What I saw was a minstrel show today. Him in front of all of these white people embarrassing himself.
When minorities don't support the agenda of the Democrats or the left, all of a sudden the restrictions they put on years ago in a physical realm they're now doing in a metaphysical realm.
But are we 100% convinced, like, are we back on the Kanye is not sick and off his meds?
He really has a problem pumping the brake here mentally and emotionally.
Maybe he was missing his medication.
It all makes clear that he has struggled and admitted diagnoses for personal mental health issues.
Anybody who threatens the 95% monolithic black vote is an enemy. They've got to be dealt with. They've got to be put down.
Another stunning act of terror.
The mass shooting at 2 mosques in New Zealand.
He claims to have been radicalized by Candace Owens.
Saying that she was an inspiration to him. She has responded sarcastically. Few events I've not been blamed for. Brazilian mining dam collapse, Chinese air smog, Tenerife air crash 1973. She's not taking this at all seriously.
What do you think the press is doing when you try to smear someone as having a mental disorder and when you say that someone is inspiring a mosque shooting? Well, you're trying to make it so that my career is effectively cut off. You're trying to make it so that nobody talks to me, so that I'm considered sort of this reject.
I just have to say that I object strenuously to your use of the word hilarious. To me, this feels a lot like your reaction to being named in one of these manifestos. Now, you're of course not responsible for the words of somebody writing that document, but I do think that laughing at it is a real problem because these are real families that are impacted by this violence.
I'm a black female who came from poverty. I should be at the top of the progressive stack. I should be receiving awards. They should be calling me, inviting me on the red carpet to share my story, but they're not. Why? Because I'm not saying what they want me to say.
You would rather assign meaning to a homicidal maniac
than to actually address the things that I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number one, father absence. Number two, the education system and the literacy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high, abortion ranks high, white supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce, and it is ironic that you're sitting here and you're having 3 Caucasian people testify and tell you what their expertise are. Do you want to know what my expertise are? Black in America. I've been Black in America my whole life, all 30 years, and I can tell you that you guys have done the exact same thing every 4 years ahead of an election cycle, and it needs to stop.
I think